We were used to the stones. For months, the Golden Horde rained rock and fire upon us, chipping away at the walls of Caffa. We were hungry, yes. We were tired. But we were still Genoese. We were still alive. Then, the sky changed. The projectile didn't shatter. It didn't bounce. It landed in the center of the square with a sound like a butcher's axe hitting raw meat. We gathered around it, thinking it a joke or a mistake. But as the dust settled, the smell hit us first. A sweet, cloying stench of rot that seemed to stain the back of your throat. It wasn't a stone. It was a man. Or what used to be a man. His skin was the color of a bruised plum, his neck swollen until it looked ready to burst. That was the moment the survival guide changed. The Mongols weren't trying to break our walls anymore. They were invited inside, in our blood. By the second dawn, the air itself felt like an enemy. The elders told us to burn rosemary and frankincense to purify the miasma, but all it did was mask the scent of the unwashed dying. Every cough in the street sounded like a death sentence. Every touch felt like a gamble. This is the first lesson of the internal siege. When you cannot see the arrows, you start to see the enemy in everyone. We weren't just running out of grain. We were running out of trust. The cures were already starting. Vinegar washes, bloodletting, and prayers screamed into the soot-stained sky. But deep down, as I watched the first red spots appear on my neighbor's wrist, I knew the fire wouldn't be enough. By day 3, the math of the siege had broken. Our leaders had spent months counting grain sacks and barrels of salted meat, convinced we could outlast the Mongols. But today, they weren't counting food. They were counting the dead. And the numbers didn't make sense. Panic has its own scent, sharper than the vinegar we use to wash our hands. They realized that even if our granaries were full, there wouldn't be enough hands to bake the bread. The city guard is vanishing, not from desertion, but from the fever. When the law starts to fear the people it's meant to protect, the walls of the city become nothing more than the sides of a coffin. On the 4th day, the social contract didn't just bend, it snapped. The governors realized they couldn't stop the plague, so they decided to hide it. They began walling in the infected. It didn't matter if you were a wealthy merchant or a beggar. If one person in your house developed the fever, the guards sealed the exits. You weren't being quarantined. You were being buried alive with your own ghosts. The internal front is the cruelest part of any siege survival guide. Your biggest threat isn't the Mongol archer on the hill. It's the person you've known for 20 years who might be carrying the black gift under their sleeve. We aren't a community anymore. We are a collection of individuals waiting for our turn to be silent. By the 5th day, the mercy of our healers became more terrifying than the plague itself. I watched a man, a scholar from Genoa, let a doctor press a dried toad against his blackened buboes, believing the creature would draw out the poison.
It was a symphony of madness. The scent of burning sulfur, the screams of those being bled white, and the rhythmic clicking of the doctor's wooden cane against the floorboards.
This is the core lesson of the Caffa survival guide. In 1346, the cure was often just a different way to die. They lanced the boils, they applied hot plasters of flour and honey, and they prayed to saints who seemed to have fled the city weeks ago. When medicine is based on myth, the doctor's mask doesn't protect him from the air. It only hides the look of horror on his face as he realizes he is powerless. Day 6. The internal siege has reached the water. The harbor of Caffa is no longer a place of trade. It is a bottleneck of human desperation. This is the ultimate failure of the survival guide, when the only way out is a wooden ship, and there are 10,000 souls for every 100 seats. Gold has lost its value. I saw a man offer a bag of spice that could buy a villa in Genoa just for a spot on a rowing bench. He was beaten back like a dog. The logic of the docks is simple and brutal. The captains know. They see the fever in the eyes of the crowd. They are terrified to let us board. Yet they are even more terrified to stay in this city of corpses. Every crate being loaded is a gamble. Every passenger is a potential spark for a wildfire. As I claw my way toward the front, I realize the true horror. We aren't just escaping a siege. We are the siege, and we are about to take it to sea. The 7th day. The salt spray should feel like life. We are away. The Mongol fires are small stars on the horizon, and the walls of Caffa are finally behind us. We told ourselves we had won. We told ourselves that we were the lucky ones, the ones who outran the apocalypse. But the survival guide doesn't have a chapter for this. The gift from the trebuchets wasn't just left in the town square. It's here, in the marrow of my bones. I look at the men beside me, dreaming of Genoa, of their wives, of a life without the sound of fudding corpses. And I realize the siege isn't over. I am the catapult now. We are the projectiles. And when we reach the next shore, the sky will fall for them too.